You know, you spend all this money on some of the cheapest Amazon standard actors you can find, and then they let you down. Anyway, hello again, YouTube. It's Saturday morning. So, what would Saturday morning be for me without another run up the Alpe du Zwift? And yeah, it probably seems like quite an odd morning to be indoors training, given that currently in the UK, in our neck of the woods at least, what are we? We're 16 Celsius. And bright and sunny outside, but I don't know, I quite like what I do indoors. And yeah, it's there's going to be a long ride on the road tomorrow morning, so this just gives me an opportunity to get a little bit more focus and make the most of me Saturday morning. So, if you've watched any of my other videos recently, you'll know that I'm currently on a charge to... sorry, I'm just distracted by the wife in the garden with a tape measure. Haven't got a clue what she's measuring, but usually if she's in the garden with a tape measure, that's my Saturday screwed. Anyway, where was I? Yes, if you've watched any of my videos recently, you'll know I'm currently on a charge to get myself back to fitness, to strip off the frankly obscene amount of fat I'd managed to accumulate over the last 4 to 5 years and get myself back into some sort of shape. Ultimately, I think the goal is to get myself crossing another Ironman start and finish line. Beginning with a 70.3, see how we go there. And then we'll give it a full distance before I'm too old, I'd like to think. So I started this, when did I start this? Mid-May. Remember it distinctly. Mid-May, I said to myself, you're a fat bar steward, you need to do something about it, and set out in earnest to do something about it. Here we are, what's this? Just before mid-September. So what's that, 4 months? And currently, this morning, I weighed in, well, let me wind the clock back to when I first jumped on the scale, 4 months ago. I was 141.6, not proud to say that, but I was 141.6 kilos. This morning when I jumped on the scales, 107.7. So, you know, do the math on that. That's what? An at's cock under 34 kilos in 4 months. I call that progress. So, and definitely the most progress I've made in years. I'm going to put together, if there's enough interest, I'm going to put together kind of a video on what I'm doing, because it's not rocket science. It's honestly just moving more and eating less. But I think if I'm completely honest, as I've said in other videos, the big change for me, well, like the big factor that's made the biggest change, I think, has been completely knocking alcohol on the head. And I mean, I'd say to you, oh look, that guy's got the fire socks. God, I want those. Level 50. 8 levels to go. Yeah, sorry. Where was I? Yeah. Well, kind of what I've been doing isn't difficult. Well, it depends how you define difficult, I suppose. it's not complex, because I'm not a complex person. It's just hard work. You know, I get dismayed. Oh, thank you very much for that, Jay Sakag. I get dismayed when I look at, like, my YouTube feed, and I see videos that are like, this melts body fat, or this melts belly fat. Drink this to melt fat. And I don't know. You know what these guys are doing? You know, you look at these channels, they're all selling, there's an underlying product that they sell. And that product could be a supplement, it could be, very often it's a training plan or book or something like that. But such is the way that YouTube works, that these guys have got to keep on making the money, to keep on paying the bills. They've got to ensure a repeat audience. And I think that's probably how most of the diet industry works. A recurring revenue model. And I think that's where it goes wrong, because, right, we've all got used to this kind of buy now, pay later world, you know, where you don't really have to wait for anything. Have a new Mercedes tomorrow, sir. You know, we've all seen the adverts. We all know how it works. But I tell you what, buddy, there are some things in life you have just got to work for. And if, like me, you've spent some time in the fitness wilderness and you just need to get yourself back there, well, I tell you what's in store for you. Not a quick fix. If you want to do it right, it's busting your ass every day, eating the right things, drinking the right things, and generally looking after yourself. But I think for me, the two biggest factors were, firstly, getting my head back in the game. Because, I mean, you've only got to look at my playlists on this channel and you'll see that I'm the master of false starts. And I did some thinking about this. Each one of those, I wasn't committed to it. I was kind of buy now, pay later committed to it. This is a good idea right now. You know, 4 days in, I'll have a beer and think about it. But something changed this time around, and I tell you, I can almost pin down what it was. It was when I was transitioning my home PCs from the Windows ones I've been using to the Mac Minis I'm using now. And I was sorting through a load of files on my old desktop rig, and I came across some of my old racing pics. And I don't know, you know, there were pictures of obviously Iron Man, all the triathlons I've done, various 10Ks, coast to coast in a day, you know, and you look at all these pictures, and you look at how fit you were, and you look at how fat you are now. I just thought to myself, mate, rose-tinted glasses, gone. You need to do something about this, buddy. And I think it's that moment where you own it. That's when you make a difference. For years, I'd been attributing my weight gain to anything except my own actions. Now, obviously, it was more to do with the stress. It was more to do with modern lifestyle. It was more to do with anything except the sometimes up to 4 McDonald's breakfasts I was having each week, copious cans of beer in the evening. Thank you very much, S. Norman Shivs. I do feel bad because she gives me kind of a Zwift ride on most mornings, and I seldom get to return the favour. But yeah, anyway, so I think that for me was the moment it all changed, was when I owned it. And you know, so 2 positives came out of switching to the Max. One, seriously, I cannot believe how good these things are. I've got now a, 4-inch by 4-inch square, or no, probably 8-inch by 8-inch square of metal on the desk that does everything the gargantuan old PC used to do. And they're cool, you know, I like them. So, yes. So there's that came out of it, but I think for me, the bigger win has been definitely that, and I almost forced to take stock by looking at some of my old photos. Right, folks, going to be a little less talking because we're into the out proper here. Look, previous me chomping at my heels there. Here we go. Trying not to burn too many matches this early on. Oh, man. If I'm honest, that's probably one of the biggest changes I've made. And seriously, 5 months ago, if you'd have talked to me about you're drinking too much, yeah, I knew deep down I was, but in my head, I wasn't a drinker, so I didn't need to do anything about it. But I tell you what, you've only got to spend, I'd say, a month not drinking to realise what damage it's doing you. And for me, one of the biggest wins is how I'm sleeping and how I feel in the mornings compared to how I used to. And I tell you what, man, I wouldn't trade that feeling for any amount of beer, wines, spirits. He's getting away. Pull him back here. Pull him back. So yeah, changes. And you know, another thing is when you start, you know, this is the thing about weight loss, and like I say, that buy now, buy now, pay later mentality that we all get dragged into. I don't know, it just feels so much more rewarding if you do it right. So, yeah, so I think, you know, owning it was the big first step. Kicking the alcohol into touch, another big step. But I tell you, step number 3, consistency. There has not been a day where I haven't been on a bike or running or weight training in all that time. So I think consistency becomes a big part of it. Right, let's see if we can gap him. Just up this ramp. Feeling good. Feeling good. So yeah, the like I say, you know, it's all about payback. And for me, the payback is just feeling as good as I feel at the moment. You know, when you think 4 months ago, one of the first things I did was take myself up Alpe to Zwift to see how bad my fitness was. and I quit halfway. On that attempt, if I had tried to live stream it, I mean, it would have made good YouTube. You'd have just had a blubbery mess, heavy breathing into a microphone, and like, you know, just the right side of accident and emergency. Whereas, you know, this morning, I'm just looking at this and thinking, yeah, pace yourself, but bring it on. Now, part of that is that in my regular big ride on a Sunday, I've started adding some decent hills into that one. And I'll be honest, there's one that looks just like this. Not the whole out, just this section. Right, so we're over FTP at the moment. But yeah, so and you know, I'm really enjoying the hills. First time I added the hills into the loop, probably about, I don't know, 5 weeks ago. And there's one of them that doesn't look bad, but it's a full mile of climbing. And it's got a sort of little ramp up to, I guess, 14% in the middle that stops you dead. And I remember the first Sunday I put that back into my ride schedule. Man, I was pedaling squares up that. And I looked at the ramp bit and I thought, I honestly don't know if I can do this, but you know, I dug in, ground it out, got on with it, and did it. And week on week, it has got easier. And thinking about my running, which is almost exclusively treadmill running at the moment. When I started this, you know, I'd set the treadmill to 5 kilometers an hour pace. And, you know, if I was feeling brave, I might push to 6 or possibly 7 for a minute. And again, I remember being intimidated, I think is the word, every time I hit the 7 kilometer an hour button, because I've been thinking to myself, I don't know, am I going to fly off the back of this thing? And seriously, where my fitness was at that point, that was a possibility, you know. But I've stuck with it. And yesterday morning's run, you know, half of it, and this is a half-hour run I was doing. Just going to stand. Yeah, half-hour run I did. Half of it at 7.5 kph and half of it at 8 kph. And no, actually, I tell a lie, I did the warm-up at 7.5 and I did the bulk of the run at 8. And it felt all right. You know, I felt like I'd had a run, not some near-death experience. And, you know, honestly, you forget how good you can feel. I've also started investing in some better looking cycling kit. Now I don't look like a Teletubby on a bike. Which I love. I know it's contentious, but I'm developing quite a penchant for a bit of rapper. Wearing the Wiggins team jersey this morning. An eBay bargain. 25 of your English pounds. Odd design. It's got a roundel on the back, which looks like a target. And I must admit, I thought, as a cyclist, do I really want to be going out with a target on my back? I've also, the old Trek Damani, which has now found itself centre stage again, has been treated to a new saddle. A physique saddle. I'll do a review of this because I bought one of these when I bought the Planet X Pro Carbon and needed to get rid of the medieval torture device that they'd fitted to it out of the factory. I bought one of these saddles, these physique, I forget the model, but I will do a review on it. And it was, without a word of a lie, probably the most comfortable I'd been on a bike ever. So I put one on the Free Ranger gravel, and on the old Damani, just have a bit of a stand. On the old Damani, I had an eBay purchased Adamo triathlon saddle. Now this was masquerading as one of their demonstrator saddles. If you've ever tried an Adamo saddle, the dealer will loan you one that's got basically a green panel on the back, and these were being sold as ex-demonstrators. Now when it turned up from the top, it looks just like an Adamo saddle, but you look at the rails, you look at the finish, I tell you what, that was as fake as you like. But anyway, I left it on there, and I seemed to get on all right with it. But I don't know, recently, probably because I'm carrying a bit of fat that I wasn't when I first bought it, it got really uncomfortable. So Yeah, I bought one of these physique saddles, and first test ride, when was that? First test ride was Wednesday of this week. Oh, Lord, what a difference. The most comfortable saddle I've ever ridden. And they're only 66 quid. I get them from Bike In. So you have a couple of days wait because they're in Spain. And obviously a bunch of Daily Mail readers decided that we should make trade with the rest of Europe more difficult. So it does take a couple of days to get here. But 66, I mean, I was in for, I think, a bit over 70 with shipping. And that ain't a lot of money to make yourself comfortable. Right, go with the plan, Ian. Not shifting gears on these hairpins. Take the flat, take the recovery, and push, push, push. Right, so just looking at the sector map over on the right, my PB is just about to make the turn by the looks of it. Previous PB. So yeah, back to my weight loss method. I'm using my MyFitnessPal to track what I'm eating and burning. And just one tip, if you're doing that yourself, and if you're aggressively losing weight, make sure that once a week you're going in and resetting your goal. Because even though it talks to Garmin, and I've got a Garmin index scale that automatically uploads my weight and, shall we say, pseudo biometrics to Garmin and then gets shared with MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal does not seem to be smart enough to adjust your daily calorie goal in line with your reducing weight. So you need to go in, reset your goal. At that point, it looks at your weight today and then recalculates. Now, if I hadn't have been doing that on a weekly basis, my calorie goal when I started this was probably something like 150 calories higher than it is now, which isn't huge, but you know, cumulatively it is. So yeah, top tip, make sure you're doing that. Otherwise, you are going to see a reduction in velocity of the way that you're losing weight. Plus also, you'll probably plateau. And don't get me wrong, I fully expect to plateau, but I want to plateau when I want to plateau. Right now, the next big goal is 100 kilos, sub 100, where I can really start training again properly. At the moment, I'm training for weight loss. And as a result of what I'm doing for the weight loss training, I'm seeing an increase in fitness. And some of that is pure physics, because the more weight you lose, the obviously the lighter you are. So things like this, you know, this at 107 kilograms rather, is easier, although I'm not making it look easy, is easier than it was at 141 kilos. So there's that. And of course, you know, if you're focusing on weight loss, you're probably working more aerobically. Classic zone 2. Zone 2, maybe 3. And that is proven to be a winner in terms of improving your overall fitness. God, it's hot. Again, if you're watching this, I've tried altering the chat panel, but man, OBS, I just wish OBS would give you a big, large text chat panel. So with my crap eyes, I could see it. Yeah. 90% mental. Yeah, agree with that. Almost there. Disagree with that. But what are we? We're 26 minutes in. Previous personal best 96, about an hour to go. Still feeling good. So yeah, these physique saddles are so good. There's one coming for the Watt bike as well. Because to be fair, I've got on all right with this, but it's what, 2 years old. It has had tons of use. Nothing lasts forever, does it? Jesus, that geezer's just come past 6.8 watts per kilo. Well, hats off to you, buddy, if you maintain that to the top. Look, he's still holding it. Oh, 6.2. He is human-ish. 7.2. 6.9. Pas normal. Pas normal. So what are we saying? Is that an e-bike on a wheel-on trainer, perhaps? Right, now see that rider in front of me there on a training plan in an interval, hitting 4. .6, coming back, 4. See, there's a lot more variation in those numbers. I'm only jealous. Previous, my hollow rider gaining on me a bit there. Keep the effort up, mate. Come on. Power up coming. Lovely. Find a flat section and get rid of it. Here's a top tip for you. I've got in my pain cave an Amazon Echo Show. I bought one of the big ones actually. I think it's an 8-inch. And set up a folder in your Amazon's photos with pictures of you that tie in with your goal. So for me, I've got previous race photos and training photos of when I was an 85 to 90 kilo normal triathlete, And it's over on the shelf over there, and these photos keep popping up, and they just remind you what you're working towards, which you sometimes need. On the hottest weekend of the year, when you're in a pain cave, climbing out to Zwift, with your holographic previous best gaining on you. Right, work to do. I think I'd got myself a bit overgeared there. Use the cadence to make the power. Ah, there's a comment there. And I'm trying to read it. Sorry, whoever's left that comment. Sorry, I'm trying to read that comment, but the text is too small. I will, of course, read all the comments, or the chat rather, and respond afterwards. I think I need to get OBS on another monitor closer to me. Right, where are we? Have we seen the Yeti yet? There's the sign. Ah. Good work. Right. Let's try and keep the cadence here and put some meaningful distance between me and the PB. Right, just need to keep it like this. Make power with cadence. That's the thinking man's approach. Turn 11. Come on. One more turn and we're in the single numbers. That always feels good on the Alpe. Spin, spin, spin. Get that flywheel spinning. Carry it into this. 25 seconds, 26 seconds. Oh yeah. It does feel good when you pass people, doesn't it? Even if they are just doing a training plan. Keep the cadence up, fella. Turn 10, inside. And what is the most efficient cadence? I think it used to be, conventional wisdom was about, what was it? I think it was 80. Was lauded as the king of cadences. So getting back to the health and fitness for a while, I'm also pleased to report that for the first time in probably 5 years, my VO2 max is in the green segment on Garmin. I also had to replace my trusty Edge 1000, which is, Lord, it's well over 10 years old, and it's had a lot of hours of use, and it just finally started quitting and getting system errors and disconnections and weird shit going on with it. So I've replaced it with an Edge 1030 Plus, and I have to say how impressed I am with that. It just never runs out of battery. Battery goes on and on. It's like it's plutonium powered or something. And the display is big and lovely. Battery's so good that if you're getting an early or late ride in, you can leave the backlight on just dim enough that you're not killing the battery, just bright enough to see. It also captures and reports all of the performance metrics that the 945 does. Lovely, lovely piece of kit, Garmin. And of course, because everyone wants the 840 and 1040 and the solars, you can pick one of these up reasonably. I think it was at launch, I think it was 400 or 500 quid, this thing. Now under 3. It's almost like with Garmin technology, you give it, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and when they release the next model, they actually reduce the price of the thing that you've been looking at to the price that you would actually pay for it. So I wonder if they'd sell more if they just blanket adopted that. There's the Yeti. Hello, buddy. Halfway. Halfway, mate. See you, mate. Oh, close. So, looking at those segment PRs over on the left, I'm wondering if those are what I call PRs of PRs. So, not necessarily your last ride, which overall may have been an Alpe PR. You know, it's conceivable that you had other rides where you did some segments faster. And I'm wondering if that's what that relates to. If anybody knows a way for me to get big text on the chat on OBS so I can actually read it, do let me know. I feel really bad when somebody chats you, good or bad, and you can't respond. Single figures. Taking it home. Or I suppose what you could do, I'd see your chats more readily. If you watch me on Zwift, I think you can chat me directly on there. I can read that, because it's on a bloody huge screen in front of me. Do you know what? I've been looking at my power Haven't even looked at my heart rate. I just knew it was up because I've got one of these Wahoo fans that connects to your heart rate belt. And I can always tell when a heart rate's getting up because the fan ramps up. Come on. Oh, do you know what? I keep wanting to shift up. Just spin a bit harder. Come on. Oh, I think this is my favourite bit. Getting into the snow. Now this is when you measure the progress, because this is where I quit that time about 4 or 5 months ago. It's just about here. Or maybe even before. And here I am this morning, and this all feels good. Come on. Come on. Neighbours are in the garden, probably wondering why there's a green screen behind me and a big fluffy microphone in front of me. Feeling good. And back to OBS for a minute. I had a good look through the settings. It's got accessibility features, and all they seem to do is change the colour of the text, not the... Yeah, do you know what? It was long before this I quit on that first one. Oh, lordy. You know, the 945 suggested a tempo session. Spin, spin, spin. Half an hour to the top. Yep, half an hour to the top based on the PRs. Go on, buddy. Go on, mate. Keep pedaling. Keeping a power on. Keeping a power. Come on. Turn 6. Seven more sectors to go. Right, a little bit of a recovery here. Good work. Oh, Lord. Five sectors to go. Get those gears off. Spin, spin, spin. Oh, Lord. That hurts. In a good way. It'll work. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, it's so nice when you're getting down to these smaller single digit turns. So what we got, 6, 10, probably a quarter of an hour to the top. Oh, I think it's a little tunnel. Always an indicator you're getting near the top. Come on. Come on. Good man. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. You were on 2-ish watts per kilo, 130 watts. Fair play to you, man. That's bloody good body weight. Oh, he's finished his plan and he's off. See you, man. That was probably his cool down. Thank you very much. I honestly don't know how to pronounce that. But you are motoring, however it's pronounced, undergeared. Here we go. Last 2 hairpins and then a grind to the top. See that? Erg mode does keep you honest, doesn't it? when you're doing one of the training plans. One of the things I like about the Edge 910 is at the end of your workout, your ride or whatever, it actually prompts you for calorie and fluid consumption, which I think is such a good idea. Because you're going to remember it straight off the bike. You'll know exactly how many bidons you took. Just look down. You can tell how much you've drunk. And for the nutrition, if you're a conscientious cyclist, you'll obviously still have your gel wrappers in your back pocket. Whoa. Good. Keep it up, Ian. Nearly there. Oh, yeah, I've got to change this saddle as well. Oh man, just beginning to feel it. And I'll tell you what, in this weather, the two-fan strategy is the only way. Keeping it going. Still got that power up. Dump that somewhere near the end. Last hairpin coming up. Ah, come on. Keep it up. Keep it up. That's the stuff. Ah, God. Ah, channeling my inner Eddie Merckx. The race is won by the rider that can suffer the most. What a legend. Bloody hell. That, right, okay, look, top of the leaderboard there. There's matey boy, 6.8 watts per kilo sustained, 34 minutes. And you look at the disparity between that number one time and say the next 10 riders. Well, folks, if you watched any of this, thank you very much. I'll read that comment in a minute when I get to the top. I am going to get to the top. I'll probably pause the live stream whilst I just go and offload some fluids. And then I might come back for a descent. If you fancy watching that. I've also got a tendon issue in my left foot, and it's just getting to the point where it needs a rest. So I'm going to unclip for 60 seconds or so. So therefore, all to see are my PR records. Two months ago, 121. Today, what are we going to be? About 94. Well, if you've watched any of this, thank you very much. Like I say, I'm going to take a leak, rest the foot, and then enjoy the downhill. Enjoy your same. Just before I finish the live stream, I just read that comment. That means she's about to cost you. Yeah, fair play, fella. She's about to cost me time and money. Have a good day, mate. I'll just respond to that. I just saw that in real time. Are you out and about on the bike soon? Yes, yeah, I am. I'm out every Sunday and a couple of days in the week, proper early, 4 o'clock-ish. So I'll be out somewhere tomorrow. So if you're riding, have a good one, fella. And yeah, see you in the next live stream. I've really got to go and take a leak now.